Bom dia, tudo bem. You'll hear that a lot. That's good morning, is all well. And you respond tudo bem, which is kind of strange because the question is the answer. But that's the way it is. But I want to, first of all, thank Ashley and Larry for having my wife and I here to speak about Recife. I know we call it Recife, but in Brazil it's Recife. I know it's kind of weird, but that's the way they talk. Anyway, I'm glad that to be able to be here, but I want to thank you as the congregation for coming alongside Pastor Craig and Mary DeLille, because they're dear friends of mine. I worked with Craig before he became a missionary as an air traffic controller. And sorry about my voice quivering a little bit because I am a little nervous. I think I said it was a sermon. I went, ooh, sermon. I thought it was the talk. Okay, but so I'll give you a couple of verses that I use in my thinking for missions. And in Matthew 22, it says, what is the greatest commandment? That you love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength. And the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. And your neighbor can be next door, or he can be down in Recife. And when you get down there, I'm just talking to you as the whole team, because from what I understand, you've all come together and raised the money to send 5 people, but you are going through them. So this is your trip. This is your experience. And when you get in country, I want you guys to have your own experience. Because my buddy, when he went, he tried to get in. I didn't want him to look to me. I wanted it to be his experience. And so when you come back, you'll be able to, because it speaks differently to each person. And how I got involved, excuse me, in 1998, I just finished a men's fraternity, and where you had to be a man. And one of the 4 goals that I came up with was to be involved in missions when I retired. And I didn't even know what that looked like. What did that mean? So that'll be 15 years. So I didn't even know how that would work, how I would go about doing it. So about 4 years passed, nothing happened. I thought, well, maybe, it was just something that I thought would be cool. But I was given the opportunity to take a youth group to an on-the-go camp where they taught young people how to do urban missions. And then I felt like I was being called again. I was like, okay, Lord, last time I thought it was 98, this is 4 years later, and I'm still not really seeing anything working here. So I came back to work, and like I said, I worked with Craig DeLille as an air traffic controller, and I was very excited because the young people really got me fired up. I thought, well, maybe this is something I can really do. And he said, well, if you really like it that much, would you like to go on the mission trip? And I was like, wow, would I? And it was to Cuba, too. And I was like, wow, not only get to go to Cuba, I get to go on a mission trip. I thought, well, I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, we went, and my life was changed. Your life is changed when you say, I'm going to go on a mission trip, but it's really changed after you go, because then you love those people. Those people are not somebody in South America. Those are your friends, and you have that relationship with them. And while we're on the mission trip to Cuba, did a lot of concrete mixing. That's all I've ever done. I am a grunt. I mix a lot of concrete. When they talk about all the medical missions and all the really cool stuff, I'm like, she didn't mention concrete. Because we do a lot of concrete mixing on the ground. It's done the old-fashioned way. But anyway, I told Craig, that I was really inspired, and he said, well, I am too. I'm resigning from the FA, and I'm moving to Recife with my girls and my wife. And I thought, that is a big step. Really big step. And I said, but if you do, Darlene and I, we'll support you, and we have ever since. And we've been partners with them. But on that trip, I met Bobby Dunn and John Perry. John Perry and I, this will be our 8th trip together. And Bobby Dunn is going again on our Recife trip, or Recife. I slip back and forth too. But several years passed, and I thought, well, nothing's happened. I gave my money. Darlene and I supported Craig, and it was good. I had fulfilled what I thought was my obligations. And Craig goes, you need to come to Brazil. You need to come to Brazil. I was like, wow, I've given my money. What more do you want? And he said, well, he goes, I would love for you to come and see what's actually going on with the money that you give. I said, well, for that money, because it's quite a bit of money, about $2,200, $2,500, they could rebuild a house in Frio del Mal, a 2-bedroom house. Yeah, I know. I was like, for that money, somebody would be missing a house if I went. He goes, well, when I tell them that God loves them, all they have to do is look around. They look at where they live, how they have to eat, what they have to eat, if they get to eat. It doesn't make sense to them. But when you come from America on your own time, spend your own money, you live with them, you love with them, you eat with them, and you worship with them, then it makes sense. I said, okay, I guess I'm going to Brazil. And I did, and I've been going ever since. It's my pastor at Hope. I'm sorry, I'm a member at Hope, but I am really close to faith, but that's okay.
Well, we got money.
Hey, I'm just a member of God's community, okay? I just happened to sit down at Hope. But anyway, it was just amazing. I went, and the first year we went and worked there in Brazil, it was I cannot begin to tell you how hard it was to work. Of course, it's just guys, so we worked, and we actually got left the church up to the bottom floor, and they were getting ready to erect the walls. And the people we met, that's out of all this that I'm talking about, it's about the people. It's about your relationships in the church and in that church, because you are their sister church. Now, once you go down there, you'll be part of their church. Pastor Amos, he's such a great pastor. He came last year, first time he'd ever been to America for 3 weeks. Great guy. I don't know if he came by or Craig came by, but he was a really, really nice guy. Invited him to my house, took him fishing. He caught a fish on his first cast. I'm thinking, oh God, please let him just let him catch one fish. He caught a bunch of fish, and then he started dissing on me because I wasn't catching any. But that was fine. And De Janeiro, the national missionary, and his wife Patricia, who all the team will meet, and Bruno, their son, and Brino, they just had another son. Estefania, I could go on and on and on. But you'll get to know all these people. They're lovely, and they're fantastic. Well, that was my first trip. On my second trip, we were getting ready to sell the barbecue. And so I'm going through the facility, selling it, and my friend, who was also friends with Craig, goes, Bob, could I go on a mission trip with you? I was thrilled, because I didn't know where his walk was with Christ. But when I realized that he was watching what was going on, and he wanted to be a part of it, that just thrilled me to death, because I thought, oh, I just cannot believe that he wants to be part of this. So we did. So we went, and we worked hard. I won't say you work hard, but you love hard and you play hard. And you also get a beach day too, by the way, I'm sure. But we were having our first service in the church, and that was Pastor Moses' mission church. So we were up in the village, and they bring up their equipment, and so they have the service. And I see this guy come in and sit at the back. And he's dressed nice shoes and stuff, but most of them wear flip-flops. And he had on slacks. I thought he was a deacon, or maybe even an elder, because Craig shook his hand, hugged his neck. Well, Pastor Mose goes up, gives the sermon, and I thought he was asking for a commitment to Christ. I thought that's what it was. I don't speak Portuguese very well. But a couple people raised their hand. This gentleman gets up, and he goes down. He shakes his hand, and he hugs his neck. And I see that the pastor is very, very moved. So I thought, ooh, I think I just witnessed somebody giving their life to Christ. So afterwards I asked Craig, I go, Craig, is that what really happened, or was I just misinterpreting what was going on? He goes, no, you're correct, he did. And I said, well, who is he? I thought he was the deacon. He goes, his name is Lou Nelson. I went, that doesn't mean anything to me. He goes, well, you knew him as Tequila. He was the drunk in the village drunk last year. But he dried out, and he's given his life to Christ. That was what the mission trip was about. Building the building, doing the concrete, that's important. But seeing somebody give their life to Christ, that's what it's all about. It really meant doubly for me because my granddad was the town drunk. He gave his life to Christ, and he became a Pentecostal minister. My dad was a Pentecostal minister, but I don't know what happened to me. But that was really poignant for me because, you know, you go, you want to do all the work and you do all the hard stuff to get all the equipment and get all the materials, but then you see God move. And that's what's important to me. And I know it was important to you. Okay. And I asked Steve afterwards, I said, Steve, this is your first mission trip. You get this, not only get to see the service in the mission church, you get to see somebody give their life to Christ. I said, where do you think your mission career is going to go from here? Well, it is really tremendously improved for Steve, too, because this will be his 6th trip. And I've seen him grow. He's led in the Bible study and Recipe, and I've seen him pray. I'm thinking, if I could only have a video of this, take it back to the center, let everybody see Steve Sawicki praying. That is awesome. So that's your friend's life is going to be changed too. Your life will be changed, your friends will be changed, and I know the church will be changed because you're already sisters with us, or brothers, however you want to put it. Well, 3 years ago, there was a big change in our mission trips because normally in March, the women went. And in August, the guys went. So we, guys are guys and women, so that's cool. It was cool. And then all of a sudden they said, well, we kind of need to combine these up. And I was like, I don't have women on this trip. I don't know how that's going to work. Because, because they're women. I don't know how it's going to work. But I love them. But, I'm like, we know we got to be at the work site. Come on, get your hair done. But you know what? It was all those stereotypes were blown away. They really were. Because Patty and her daughter KB, who looks like Barbie, by the way, she really does, and they were just unbelievable. I've never seen Barbie work a shovel before, but she could work a shovel and a pick. But our trip that year, we were to repair the road up to the village, because every time it rained, you couldn't even get in there. The mud was unbelievable. And we're going to have to repair this, where all the water goes through. Well, unfortunately, on the other side of the road was where they dumped their trash for 20 years. So we had to go down there and dig all that out. That's what our job was. So we already knew what was coming. So we're like, we're at the airport, and I was like, wouldn't it be great if God would give us something mechanical like a bobcat. Just a bobcat's all I want. So we get there to Brazil. Craig meets us, and he goes, I got some good news for you guys. What is it? And he goes, I've got a front-end loader coming. I was like, get out. He goes, no, I really do. I said, okay. I said, okay, really? He goes, yeah, I think this guy owns his own backhoe, and he's going to bring it over, and we're going to work. And he said he'd be there for about 6 hours. And I'm like, okay, well, at least that's better than nothing. Well, when this guy shows up, it was not your typical backhoe, because it was like, the wheels were as tall as I was. It was huge. And this guy was so cool, and I mean, it's like, he started working, and of course, we're down in the trash, like, I wonder what that was. I wonder how long that's been here. You're going through all the litany that you do anyway, and it was amazing because I was digging, and I look over, and this guy's down in there, he's got rubber boots on, he's got these pitchforks, he's just working on it, and I go, I don't know this guy. So I said, Craig, who is this guy? He goes, he owns the bar. He owns the bar down at the end of the end of the street. I'm like, what's he doing down here? He's helping. I was like, okay. So the people were just coming out of the woodwork, and they were just started working because we're having to fill up the rucksacks, and we're making the reinforcements. And it's just, I got tired, believe it, I really did. So I'm standing there, and I'm watching people work. down in the hole. You're over here working here. And all the little kids are sewing the sacks together, and you're shoveling, and you're throwing them in there, and they're stacking them. God, this is what you must see. This is what you must see. Because I just saw people come together. It's the relationships in the town, in the city, wherever you're at, and they were working. And I was blown away. Well, he really liked Cliff Bars. The operator did. But he also would share his homemade popsicles. They make them out of condensed milk and fruit flavors. And they make their own little containers. So he was flipping them off to us, and we were throwing him Cliff Bars. So I highly recommend that if you want something to think about taking, take Cliff Bars, lots of them. And take Propel, lots of Propel, because when we take it for ourselves, they watch us fix the water. So they're like, what is that? So they like the flavor. They really don't know that you're replacing your electrolytes. So I went through a lot of Propel. One kid almost drank me out of it. But he was a cool kid because he was homeless. And I knew his story, so about every 5 minutes he was like, again? I was like, how thirsty could you be? But it was wonderful. But anyway, that backhoe was there for 3 days. 3 days. And I mean, it was, when we left, the project was about 75% done. All they had to do was another section. But people came, just started laying brick, because everybody in Brazil knows how to mix concrete. 10 years old and up, everybody does. And I mean, everybody does it different too. Like, no, you need to do it this way. And you need to go up this way. And so you just kind of do whatever they say. But they're my friends. And when I go back, it's not like I'm going on the mission field. I'm going back to see my friends. And I can't wait to see them. And I know you guys will love them too. Well, 2 years ago, we moved to a totally different location. Where we'll be going this year. Had to make all new friends. I was like, ooh, this is going to be tough because we didn't know what the project was going to be. Well, I was wrong again. I've been wrong a lot. Because I go in with preconceived notions, this is how it's going to be. Well, Pastor Pablo and Beto were co-pastors at this church. And basically what we did, we tore the wall down in the back and made it secure. So people from the villages and from the river couldn't come in and do their drugs and whatever else they did. And they became dear, dear friends. Well, sorry. We didn't see anything what I thought would happen, but after we came back, we got news that one of the men that laid brick, he gave his life to Christ. We didn't see it while we were there. And you may not see anything happen while you're there, but don't be disappointed because that's not what we go for. We're part of the process. And it's up to God to give us the results. Because I'm a results-oriented guy. I do X, I want to see Y. A lot of times I don't see Y. And then I'll say, well, why did I do X? But last year when we went, we also met some new missionaries. Chris and Carrie Himes, who are in charge of the soccer ministry. They also kind of keep Craig in the 21st or 22nd century. They kind of move him along. Because he's kind of like me. He's kind of like old school stuff. And we got new team members, Donna Gamble and Jenny Roberts. They're going again this year. I thought for sure, they were like, Donna, I think Jenny, the second day, she's like, oh God, I'm dying. I'm like, well, just sit down, relax. And she was kind of upset because she's like, well, I can't dig. I said, well, that's not what you're here for. And then I thought, well, surely she won't want to come again, but she wants to come again because she loves those people. And she found her niche. She works for the kids. So there's 1 million kids, and they'll be all over you, so get ready to be hugged and to hug them back because they love you. Well, this last trip we made was very important. I didn't see what I thought I would see. I thought, well, maybe it was a bust. I don't understand what was going on. But at the end, Pastor Pablo got up, and Craig interpreted for him. He was very discouraged because Beto, his co-pastor the year before, had been moved to another church, and he thought he was alone. because it's very, very hard for him, because it's very poor. I can't even describe to you how poor it is. But he said, because we came back. We came back. We worked with him. We loved him. And he goes, I think I can stay. I think I'm going to be good. And Donna, that was her first mission trip. She gets up and she's crying, holding on to him, and Craig's interpreting. I'm like, I didn't even know she really was that into it. But you just don't know how the experience is going to be for you. Because a lot of times I'll see a situation and it means one thing to me, but because of your work experience or your life experience, it's going to be something totally different to you. Well, this year we got some new. You are an answer to our prayer. I want you to understand that. You really are. Because Patty and I were talking last year. We're like, I don't know how this is going to work. We need new people. We need new people. I love to have old people. I love to have the same people, but we need new blood. Because sooner or later, some of us old guys ain't going to go anymore. So we got to have some new people to pick up the torch and go with it. And Harmony stepped in. You guys have stepped in. And I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be cool. And it really is. But I don't want you to worry about how much work you do. I don't care, if you lay a brick, if you do a thing of cement, you're going to do by the way, you are going to do cement. I'm just going to tell you, it's the thing, women go, how hard could that be? Trust me, it's pretty difficult, but they get in there and they play with it, and even the kids will show you how, no, they'll show you, they'll try to take the shovel away from you, women can't do cement, but they can, trust me. Trust me. But I wanted to end this with a special story for me, and I hope I can say it without crying, and if I can't, I'm going to cry. The first year we were at Rio Doce, we were late for work, and Craig comes by in his little green Chevrolet station wagon thing. It's a thing, really. Every time you go over a bump, the key flies out, and it's still and it's still going. He goes, get the key, get the key. Okay, so we're all scrambling to get the key. So we're running, we're driving through traffic, and there's horses, and there's people on bicycles, and every kind of conveyance known to man was going crazy. And I was sitting in the back, and this young man was on a bicycle, and he had two huge water bottles on the front and one in the back, carrying water to the office. And I see him go down, bam, right next to me. And of course, I looked, make sure he didn't get run over. And he got up, had on a real nice jersey. But he looked like he's 16. And of course, I'm a cyclist, so I was like, oh, man, I hope he's okay. Okay, good job. And he got real quiet. He goes, you want me to go back and check on him? Yeah, we do. So it took a while to get through the traffic and get back. And it was a God thing, because there was a parking space right next to where he had gone back to his office or place of business. And he was sitting there on a bicycle on his phone. He was smoking a cigarette, and he had a huge gash on his knee. So I'm going up, checking him out. I hope he thought that was okay, but I did anyway. And Craig was talking to the old lady that owned the business. And he goes, you guys got any cash on you? I was like, well, I got a little bit, because we're going to work. So we pulled it out, and we had like 30 halves, which is about $15 between us. And he goes, that's how much those two bottles that he broke, that's how much they cost. So he pays the lady, and he goes, that was his week's wages. That's why he was crying, because he was responsible for that, and he could not pay that. But I explained to the lady that you were from America, and you were missionaries, and you wanted to pay for his bottles. We don't know what happened. It wasn't for me to know what happened, but I know what happened for me. I got out of that two things. First, it was like Christ. I had a debt I couldn't pay. He paid it for me. I didn't even want him to pay it for me, but he paid it for me. And it is up to me to thank him for what he did for me. So that was kind of what I got out of the parallel, what God had done for me. And Craig goes, on the way to the work site, he goes, I want to thank you for making me stop. Because I see this all the time. And I don't stop all the time. Because there's so much of it. He goes, but you made me stop. And I'm glad you did. So why I'm saying that is because a lot of times everybody says, I want to do something for God. It's right there. It's right beside you. A lot of times we look out, and it's great to go on mission trips, but a lot of times, what about our city? What about our city? We can help here. So I'm encouraging you all, keep doing what you're doing. Propel, clip bars. White t-shirts to work in, and shorts. And I tell you, you can't do no wrong. But I want to give you a little blessing, if I can, in Portuguese, because I've been studying it on my phone. Let's see if I can do this. Deus é maravilhoso. Deus é fiel. Deus te abençoe. Paz do Senhor. God is marvelous. God is faithful. God bless you. Peace to the Lord.